Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here from Popternative, speaking to Ashley Aufderheide about that 90s show premiering globally on Netflix January 19th. Welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I mean, this is exciting. This is one that was on my calendar as soon as I found out this was going to be a thing. Like when they announced this, even before you were cast, like I am so excited for this. Has it started to hit you that people are going to be able to see what you've been working on?
I don't think it's ever going to hit me, honestly. I've been in a constant state of shock for the past year. It still hasn't hit me, but it will soon. I think when the show comes out, that's when I'm going to think, okay, this happened. This is happening.
I feel like yourself and a lot of your cast that joined that 90s show are in a kind of cool, like unique situation because there's familiar territory because of that 70s show. Kitty and Red are back. It's the same house. So there's that familiarity. But then unfamiliarity because we're in the 90s, new fashion trends, new characters. Did you think about that a lot where it was like unique, where it was like familiar and unfamiliar territory at the same time?
No, that's actually what I love so much about that 90s show because it's a continuation of that 70s show. Like you said, like there are a bunch of legacy characters, same house, basement, living room, everything like that. But then we all have these completely different new characters. And what I love is that it doesn't mimic, like I'm not supposed to be like one certain character, like I'm Gwen. And that's it. I'm Gwen, but then I'm also in this really familiar environment. So I think it could be a little bit tricky to manage that, but I think we all sort of figured it out really well. And it was super helpful because the writing was such a help because it was so on point.
And let's be honest, Gwen has the best taste in music in everyone in the group. Let's be honest.
Yes, right? And that style, right?
When people get to see it, they're going to see we don't waste time too. We're like, okay, she likes her music and she
likes her music. She likes her music. that was my audition scene. That was one of my audition scenes.
That's the first. That's awesome. Did you audition only for Gwen, or did you audition for other characters as well?
I love Gwen, only for Gwen.
What was kind of the mindset when you're cast? It's official. Then going back into that basement, like what was that like? Just kind of being back. Those are like the best scenes of the show in the basement. What was that like specifically?
Okay, so I obviously before I started shooting watched that 70s show, and so I remember going to the basement for the first time and just standing there thinking, oh my goodness, like still in my state of shock, thinking, oh my goodness, wait, I was just watching that on my screen. How am I here right now? And that was insane. And then you go to the kitchen and the living room, and then they build a new room, and you're thinking, oh my goodness, I'm in the hub now, what is going on? And so that it was just such a surreal experience. And then meeting the legacy cast too, it's like, oh my goodness.
One of the things I also love about Gwen is her interactions and relationships with a lot of characters in the show. I love the friendship with Leia. I love the friendship with her brother Nate. There's really cool stuff with Nikki as well. Do you notice that in the script as well, that there's a lot of kind of cool interactions with a lot of different characters in the show?
Yes. Okay. I also love that about Gwen too, because she really gets to interact with everyone. She's her best friend, like you said, her brother, and then Ozzy, who she also has like a good connection with.
Ozzy.
But then they grow from that. Like I feel like Gwen has a lot of growth throughout the season, which is great. There's a lot of layers to her and a lot of different relationships, like you said, and I think that's something I really like about Gwen.
Oh, it's so interesting too. You mentioned the growth because I feel like writing is so amazing these days. Where it's not like you're watching like a movie and it's like, oh, like from the beginning and the end of the movie there's growth, or like you watch a show and it's like, oh, this season she really grew. It's like within like 2 scenes we see Gwen growing.
Exactly. That's so funny. Yeah, you're so right. No, literally in one scene even.
Yeah.
The scene when she's with Leia in her room and then she's angry at first and then there's all of that growth and she like explains herself. I love that scene. That scene was amazing to shoot.
Again, we don't want to go into big spoilers, but I love also that Gwen in many situations becomes kind of like the voice of reason a little bit, if you know what I mean.
Yes, totally. I think the other characters look up to Gwen because she's always going to tell it to you straight. She's going to give it to you straight.
Okay, Gwen is cool. 100%.
That is cool. I'm a little biased, but I love her.
What was the preparation like for this show specifically? You know, listening to a lot of 90s bands, kind of doing a lot of like watching a lot of 90s movies. Like, was there a lot of preparation in that regard of things?
So I do have a playlist, but what I do to get into character is I just sit by myself and think. Like I know that's
That's awesome.
it's a bit strange, but I feel like I work best or I prepare best when I'm just alone and I just go in the car and I sit in the car. I like went into a parking lot, which is a little bit weird. I definitely sound so strange right now, but I just
You're
sat
getting
by
in the
myself.
zone and just thinking about a lot of things.
I was getting zoned and just, thinking about Gwen and how she would feel in the scene. And also, Gwen was originally supposed to be a petite powerhouse with pink hair, but then once they saw me, I mean, hello, I don't have pink hair and I'm not very petite either. But once they saw me, they thought, ooh, well, she sort of has this energy that we like. And so also I channel myself in a way, which is a little interesting because I think, okay, well, they wanted to infuse my energy. What's my energy like? How can I incorporate that to who Gwen already is as a character,
100%. And one of the things I love about the series too, one of my favorite things, and Gwen is an example of this as well. There's like the goofy kind of slapstick humor that we loved from that 70s show. We get it with that 90s show, but there's also a lot of heart. And I think that balance is something I really love in a show. Do you notice that balance immediately when you're reading the script for this?
Totally. I mean, that's one of the things that even before I shot that 90s show, what I saw in that 70s show and wanted to carry forward through that 90s show. And so we would have the live show on Friday, and then we would also get the script Friday. So then they would be handing out the scripts as we're shooting the episode, and all of us would run in the scene that we're not in and, hide and read the script together. And we would all say the same thing. I mean, how much heart the show has and how it's funny, but also so lovable. And I think it has the perfect balance. And I totally noticed that as well, for sure.
What was it also like getting back to, Callie does an amazing job playing Leia. What were those kind of scenes like, the Gwen Leia scenes specifically? They're important. They're big this season.
I love the Gwen Leia scenes because I feel like, that's how Leia's integrated into the whole friend group. And Gwen is in the scene, she's like, I am their queen or something. Like she's the leader.
She's introducing everyone. Yeah.
No, she's like this person, I'm the queen. And so I feel like their dynamic is so important because it's the total like opposites attract idea. I mean, Leia is, part of debate club and sort of innocent, and she hasn't done all these crazy things, I guess. And then Gwen is just, a rocker and a rebel, and I think that makes for a perfect friendship. It's the total.
But it's cool that first scene when they first like meet and everything. Gwen gets it. Like Gwen understands the assignment. Like she gets like Leia. You know what I mean, right? Do you know what I mean by that?
Yes, totally. And she doesn't judge her. Like Gwen is not judgmental like that.
That's what I mean. And then also, Maxwell A.C. Donovan, who plays Nate, your brother on the show. I mean, those are great scenes as well. And there's a lot of kind of heart with those too. I mean, not going to big spoilers, but the whole scene about the baseball jersey and all that stuff. I mean, what was that kind of like as well? Because that, I feel like a lot of the stuff with Leia, there's a lot of the slapstick like things because you're talking about the relationships and everything with Jay and everything. But then with Nate, it gets pretty heartfelt sometimes, right?
Totally. I remember when we got that script, Max and I were so happy because we said, yes, it's our bro sis moment. We were so happy. I mean, I loved that script so much with the moose and everything. And it was so deep and heartfelt. And I love that part about the show. I mean, I really, in the scene, Max and I, even in person, we bonded, we got closer because, we obviously spent a lot of time together that episode, but it's really deep and personal. And
Gwen, turn the music down now. You're like,
no. I'm gonna do what I want when I want to.
Ashley Aufderheide is a storyteller. That's what you do. What excites you specifically about storytelling, Ashley?
What excites me about storytelling? Well, I just love to tell stories about what's happened, and hopefully people find just a quarter of it interesting. But I mean, I feel like I'm so fortunate to have this incredible experience working on this set, and if I could just let people have a little sneak peek into what it was like, I mean, I think it's cool to share, and I like to tell.
And yeah, absolutely. What excites you about storytelling? Telling stories.
Well, yeah.
No, 100%. No, that's perfect. No, but it's so great. There's so many stories to tell as well. And no, that's a great answer. There's got to be some cool. There's probably so many inside jokes, funny things that happen on set. Is there something that comes to mind, like on top of your head, that you could share? Funny on-set moments, anything with like the basement, like anything you can like tell me about specifically.
Funny on-set moments. I feel like we're always laughing. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So you know how people make edits on TikTok
Yes.
and Instagram and stuff? Okay, so there's this one scene. People geek over Mace, like they think Mace is so beautiful and stuff. He is beautiful. But there's this one scene where Max and Mace are choking on Raisin Bran.
Yeah.
Then they have to start drinking Capri Suns. And Mace was doing this whole body roll. He was like rolling his body as he was drinking the Capri Sun. And so I would look over and he would be doing a full body roll. And then all of us started laughing. And it was so, so funny. I don't know why it was so funny. It's just Callie and I joked that there were going to be all these edits made of Mace drinking Capri Sun. And then he thought it was funny. And then Sam thought it was funny. And Ren and Max. And then we were all laughing. And it was just silly because they were choking on Capri Suns. But then we were also thinking of people making edits. And it was so funny.
Yeah, I know. And there's a lot of moments. It's funny, like the Raisin Bran. I forgot about the moose. Like you brought up the moose. Like I forgot about
the moose.
No, there's so many moments. It's crunch time. Like it's coming out pretty soon. There's like billboards and there's like you're doing press and everything. I mean, is it starting to kind of hit you as well? Because it's Netflix, it's global. People are going to be able to see it on the 19th across all these time zones. Like, it's going to be crazy.
I know. They told me that they were translating it into 30 languages or something. I can't wait to hear myself in Japanese and all these languages that I don't know how to speak. I mean, that's going to be so cool.
It's going to be amazing. And I really can't wait for people to see it. And, you know, it's just right away, everyone's going to fall in love with all the characters. And they're going to notice, yeah, Gwen has amazing taste in music. And then they're going to make Gwen-inspired 90s playlists. We got to make that happen, right?
You really think so?
I think so. I mean, we don't, like, there's some songs right away. I mean, that's something that I loved about it. I just love the fact that it got me back in that. Like I went and listened to all my Green Day and Third Eye Blind and Weezer. I went back and did that.
Did you see that cool Green Day shirt that I got to wear?
Of course.
I love that outfit.
Of course. I mean, Green Day is the best concert I've ever been to. And I used to go to a lot of shows and everything, and that was my favorite band. So the fact that Green Day was in there was amazing. Ashley, thank you so much for your time. It was so great chatting with you.
Yes, you too. You have such good energy.
Well, you know what? We got to be excited. If we're not excited about this, like, you know, what's the point of all this? It's coming out January 19th.
I know.
It's That 90s Show. And your Instagram account is just your name, right? For people to keep up to date with everything?
Ashley Aufderheide, AUFDERHEIDE. It's kind of tricky, but
we can make a bet there might or might not be a lot of behind the scenes stuff coming when the show launches. So we'll see. We will see. Well, this has been Popternative. YouTube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. Until next time, it's Ashley Aufderheide, who plays Gwen in That 90s Show, premiering worldwide on Netflix January 19th. And PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.